Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another broadcast of this ORL Speed 1. This time around, we are headed to the Netherlands, third round of the championship. This is Ruben Reis Pagmanha, and beside me in the commentary booth, we have Joana Count Brito. Good evening, Joana, and we've had chaotic, if I can say that, first two races. What do you have to say about the upcoming one?
Good evening, Respa. Good evening, everyone. Um, I'm excited for tonight. I mean, I don't. I wasn't expecting Belgium to have as much action as we saw, but I'm expecting a bit of a Canada. Um, Again, not in the chaos or in the DRS zones, because definitely that's not the case around Zandvoort. But in the case, in the sense that drivers will be all quite packed, and we might have some action, especially into turn one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start of the race. Of always around here, it's a very tight circuit. Uh, Almost, I usually say it's a sort of as if it was a kart track, just wide enough for F1 cars, because it's really fast. It's very twisty as well. So it is an interesting track. It is a fun one to drive. Not exactly sure if it is a fun one to start with. Sorry, if it is a good one to race and go side by side with. Of course, we have a massive main straight, which helps overtaking. But of course, other than that, we are going to overtaking action. Joanna, of course, we've had uh, great displays from that our championship win, championship leader today, or added of the championship. But do you see anyone threatening it?
Well, you say into turn one. Just let me wrap that part up. I'm fully expecting to see people side by side into turn three and in the sequence of four and five. Regarding the championship, Daniel Haddad is clearly our championship leader, but he hasn't been leading all races with no work. He has to fight for it. He has been successful so far. I'm fully expecting Dani Berejnay to make a return, uh, wanting to grab at least a podium tonight. And of course, we cannot disregard the Mercedes drivers who have been at least one of them always on the podium. I think yes. So I'm fully expecting to see at least one of them back again at the end of this race.
You can see there's the table, the top 10 for the championship. So that of 17 points, and I dare say that with a pack as compact as this, he might start to run away with it if they, of course, uh, I would say, especially that has not probably hurting still from Spa, and I would say that
Yeah, definitely will be driving with a knife on his teeth. Um, but we cannot ignore the rest of the drivers. Most of them have proved time and time that they can fight for a win. Um, well, I'm not going to say one or two names because it's really most of the grid. So we can always expect some surprises either by strategy or by untimely or timely, depends on the point of view. Safety car, or even on pure pace. We never know.
one for sure. Of course, we've also had drivers doing a very good job uh, last week. Of course, Daniel had his win, but his teammate Samuel Bean he went to some troubles, but he still saved points from his efforts. He still got P10. Napadovsky also he got 8 preseason in China, but things didn't go well at Canada, and he came back with another 8th place. Also a double points finish already has, which well hasn't happened yet. So that was a very good job for the American brand, especially in terms of the solid results for the Scuderia across the Atlantic. So it's nice to see the competitiveness of the field. Um, well, randomness, if I can say that, because of course, I'd field any little mistake can prove costly. We had as well last week. Ovece was also doing a great job, but then he ended up with nothing out of the Belgium Grand Prix. He was actually leading it, if I recall correctly, for a time. So mistakes are really costly. And Joanna, uh, what are your way too early?
Uh, I'm not sure. I'm very curious to know what our two drivers who will make their first race with us this season will be able to achieve. Both the Hungarians, Zoltan and help me, and Christoph. So both Challenger series drivers from Hungary. So I'm very curious to see what they can achieve tonight. But regardless of my expectation for those two, considering the qualification, um, I'd go with the most safe names. Um, as you say, it's way too early prediction, so I like to keep it safe. I'm hoping for Iker to finally um, be able to fight for either P1 or P2, at least the front row. I'm expecting of him, and then Daniele and help me.
I don't know, but
And Danny, I think they'll be, but there won't be much of a gap here, and surprises can arise from that because it's not a very long track, and with the smaller gaps, one of them can, or even for strategy, because there might be a few options here. I think there might be some drivers not focusing too much on passing from Q2. Let's see.
let's let's see. Of course, strategies come into it, but I don't think drivers have sort of precision to aim for P11. But I don't know. I'm going to, of course, the championship leader in the best form at for now. So yeah, I'm also at Daniel Haddad for pole. I would also put up there Sven Zerner. If I correctly, does perform well at track. I don't think I'm wrong in that, and I would also bet on Bayern. Of course, he wasn't able to capitalize his pace advantage in Canada on a pole, uh, but so I believe that they still do what of a day. Patrick Kruti also did a great job last week, so maybe he can carry off some and get some good of results. Maybe we that gets an so I'm going to we'll wait for a little bit longer. The lobby is almost complete, almost ready to start. And Joanna, then for the race, are your bets still?
You're putting me on a hard spot.
That's the
I mean, I've said it twice already. It's a track where anything can happen, really. Um, we've seen in other races at this track the leaders just making mistakes and losing what looked like a guaranteed a win. So let's hope that does not happen to whoever is leading the race tonight. But who starts on front is always the in a better position to win.
track. Of course, the rain can also spice things up. It's not unusual to see rain at so it's also it might throw a spanner in the works, of course, as it just did 2 weeks ago at Canada. That rain late in Q3, well, uh, top 10 up and created some situations. But I'm getting now notified that we are ready to kick things off with our qualifying session. Let's head on to it. But for that, talking to you a little bit about this track. 4.2 kilometers here at the Netherlands and at Dunwart. A very high speed track, very tricky one though. You need to explore the curves, but those can bite back multiple instances. So a track of hard for this one. Of course, the drivers are more than prepared, but of course, it's said and done to just drive around and get result around here. 14 corners, DRS zones to aid overtaking is done, and of course, very exciting one in terms of the tires. They are the softest available from Pirelli. 5 marked in red, 4 marked in yellow, and 3 marked white hard tires. Moving on to the standings, we have Daniel Haddad leading affairs with 50 points, followed by Manolo Villar and Patrick Kruti with 33 and 28 points, followed by Sven Zerner and Alvaro Carreton closing the top 5 with 25 points. After that, we have Alessio De Capo, 1 point ahead of Samuel Bean, Domenico Lovece with 12 points in 8th place, Dani Bereznay and Bernardo Perez complete our top 10 as they both have 10 points each. Moving to constructors, we have Aston Martin in the lead, 6 points ahead of the Brackley-based Mercedes. After that, we have McLaren, Williams, AlphaTauri in 5th with 19 points, 1 ahead of their fellow Italians at Maranello. Then Haas 7th with 8 points, followed by Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, and still pointless after 2 rounds of the championship. We have the French Scuderia at Alpine. So with that, we can get ourselves started with the track action, but before that, just remind you all that we do have a giveaway. So Mobiuz EX3410R, the new monitor from Mobiuz and BenQ, and to that you need to go on Twitter, follow Mobiuz Gaming, ORL Twitter page as well, like the tweets they have posted already on Twitter. You need to like it and you need to retweet it with those 4 hashtags that you see on your screen to have a chance at winning. So once again, go on to Twitter, follow Mobiuz, follow ORL, like the tweet they have posted, and retweet that same tweet with those 4 hashtags you see on your monitor. So without further ado, we can get started with our qualifying affair. And Joanna, looks like we already have some track action.
Yeah, we have Alessio Di Capo finishing up on the first sector, obviously a purple sector as he is the first one on track. We also have Domenico Lovecchio already on a fast lap as well, but still a bit more further back, so I'd suggest we start with Alessio for now.
Oh, that one goes for now. Let's go on board with him. Does he get going to give us a bit of a tour of this track? Just wrapping up his lap. No, he aborted his lap. From from the looks of it, he has aborted his lap. So we're going to wait and see what he can do later on. For now, it's is it right behind him, Padorningolo, but he's also about to wrap up his outlap. So yeah, it was really the Capua, the only one in a position at the moment at the lap time. Of course, that 117 is due to him aborting that one. Up next, we have Domenico Lovecce.
But
And
on Intus,
yeah, he's on Inter.
we have
So
quite a few drivers doing this first lap on Intus. Alessio, I would like just to mention that he aborted by option. He did not invalidate his lap, so just not wanting to put a meaningful time for now. Getting used to the track. We also have Sven Zerner, one of your favorites, starting a lap on the medium compound, getting out of turn 3. A bit of a Ferrari side by side with him, but no issues on his lap. And yes, we have, I think, both Williams also on supposedly laps, not out laps. So I'd say for fast flying laps, but it's not really a flying lap when you're on Inters, you know.
yeah, they're just trying to put some rubber on the track. In the meantime, Alessio Di Cappa got the first lap time posted. Sven Zerner has nullified his attempts, but he is the only driver out there on the track on a flying lap. That intermediate. I am going to pause the game momentarily. I apologize for that one. Thing. Nonetheless, Sven Zerner, I believe, is going for another crack at it on the mediums. And the moment, I believe this is really it. Codorningolo and Lovecce on the intermediates, as well as Nadia Perez, and we have Darn. Darn is about to complete a lap of his own. Let's see what time posts. The rest wide open at the back of the Alfa Romeo is coming over the line. And it didn't count for some reason. The lap time didn't count. Yeah, that's weird, unless I got some... unless he was on an outlap and the graphic was just trolling me. I don't know what happened. Do you have anything regarding that? Is Darn also without a lap time on your monitor?
Darn is without a lap. Yes. He has invalidated this lap, and regarding the previous one, I can check.
Hello and welcome back. Apologize for issues, but hopefully they are no more. Oh yeah, we have wrapped up qualifying, and Joanna, uh, what do you have from us in time? The drivers are pulling back in it's, but I don't have leaderboard for some reason, so I need you on this one. Uh, who is currently? I can see Dario Lemulo and Domenico Lovece are P1 and P2, and they've both retired from the session. Now I can see driver. What the hell is?
Try F2 or
No,
F1.
I'm not.
I know you know, but
Things are not working out. What is wrong with F1 2021, guys?
well, we just had Alessio Cup going up to P2. Well, now P3. One of our drivers who's doing his first race tonight, Christoph, is now in P1. the driver for Alfa Romeo this evening. Um, but yeah, they have less than 2 minutes to go. A few yellow flags of drivers trying to let others by, as is the case of Zoltan Boda, who just let one of the Alfa Romeo, so it will be Alessio Di Capopai. But yeah, short track, plenty of cars on track on this Q1. So let's hope that no one messes other people's laps. The drivers need to be really careful to avoid anything like that.
Yeah, I'm really I can't even pause the game, so I'm gonna have to read the game again. What? Yeah, I guess we'll have to back apologize for this, but that one I don't think I can control, so we'll be right. Okay, I believe we are finally back with some action on the track, and Samuel Bean has just posted himself on in P1, and Joanna, who was knocked out of this first session of qualifying, and then what happened to Zerner?
Welcome back. So we had Napadovsky, Istvan Puki, Kordor Ningolo, Darn, and Alexis Morichon exiting on qualifying one. It was between P1 and P20. The gap was only of 7 tenths, so the field is quite close. And I'd say that it won't be the first time, but Istvan Puki has a long race in front of him by finishing qualifying one in P17. Regarding Sven Zerner, he left the pits for this qualifying two quite close to benches Szabo Kori. Unfortunately, I was not on board with them. I was following Alessio Di Capo, who was once more the first driver out of the pits. And we received a message that Sven Zerner was parked in a dangerous location. But then immediately after, we received a message that Sven Zerner had rejoined the lobby, so it might not even had been him. So tough luck for the McLaren driver. Both McLaren and Red Bull reduced to only one driver on this qualifying session.
At the moment, taking a look at Dario Lemulo, the driver who was on provisory pole at the end of Q1. So let's see what he is able to show us today as he gets midway through the lap, currently in the middle sector, currently heading to turn number 11, I believe this is. Yes, it is. Then we have second DRS zone of the lap. Domenico Lovece getting out of the way of the AlphaTauri, gets himself through turns 12 and 13. Now, oh, sorry, 11 and 12, and now 13 and through 14. The banked corner, of course, put pins to the throttle. DRS wide open at the back of the AlphaTauri. Is coming over the line, and it is a 110.2 for the AlphaTauri driver. Meantime, I don't believe we have any other drivers on flying laps at the moment. Icarbena, I believe he's just bringing the car back into the pits. Let me make sure of that. Yes, I believe he's bringing the car back into the pits. So at the moment, who is the next driver to start the lap? Pilar or Zoltan Boda? Not sure. I believe maybe even Perez. Let me take a look. It's not Perez there. So
It's Boda.
it's yeah, it's
Zoltan
Zoltan.
Boda.
Yeah, it's Zoltan. So let's go with the Haas driver. See what he can accomplish. We're quite a ways away from the end of this second qualifying session. Taking a look, we can see Domenico Lovecchi just trying to confirm everything. Most lap times have been posted on a set of medium tires, Rana.
Yeah, I think drivers trying to qualify on medium, but probably will go for a second attempt on the softer compound. One thing for qualifying one that was quite interesting, although not for the driver in question, was that Manolo Villar, who think has one or two podiums so far, so second in Canada and third last week in Spa, he almost didn't make it. He was P15 and left it that time for quite late in the session. So a bit of a scare for the Mercedes driver. Let's see if he can make it a bit easier on him on this qualifying session number 2.
So now following with Patrick Cruti, Zoltan Boda made a mistake in sector 2, actually took out the 100 meter marker board before turn 9, I believe that was, so that might throw a spanner in the driver's performances. Meanwhile, Patrick Cruti was right behind the Haas at the time, just crosses over the line with a P2, 09.7 for him. Right behind him is Ben Szabo, just about to start a lap of his own, and behind him is Zella Christoph, about to start also a lap of his own. So let's follow these two drivers. Going to get ourselves with the Red Bull and trying to follow Zella for the time being. Ben Szabo is going to be wrapping up sector number 1, and that is on an improvement according to the graphic. Danny Beresnay though gets himself on pole, 0.005 of a second away from Adar. So things are already getting pretty close between those two, Joanna.
As expected to.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. There's a spin by Ben Szabo. There was a spin by Ben Szabo coming out of turn number 9, and due to that, probably a scare for Zella.
So aboard the lap. It was a scare for me. I was on board with him, and I completely forgot we had ghosting on, and I was like, "Yeah, this is game over for both of them." And then the Alfa Romeo driver just went through him, but enough to abort the lap. Let's see if he will he will launch a second attempt, I believe so, or return to the pits.
In the meantime, Nardi Perez already completed his first attempt. He's bringing himself back in the pits. Perez thrown P10 because Daniel Haddad just gets himself back on the top of affairs. Manolo Villar now, not sure if he's also bringing it back to the pits or going for a lap. Domenico Lovecchi is definitely going for a lap. He's headed through the last few corners. Number 29 of the Ferrari, DRS wide open in the rear, and he's coming on pole, 109.585, and the last handful of drivers to complete laps have all been lowering the time to pit. The pack is chasing that 109.5, and let's take a look. Icarbene is going for another lap. Dani Beresnay is bringing his McLaren into the pits. So yeah, the field has been consistently lowering the bar for their rivals, and looks like Lovecchi is just like he was at Spa. Unfortunately, things didn't go his way in the race, but again in qualifying is proving to be in good form, Joanna.
Yeah, I was going to say that the Alfa Romeo driver of Zealous Christoph was going to jump for around P4, and it was exactly what he did. Good time on the board, not in the .5 though. Let's see, but I think that might just be enough for him to get a place in top 10, but we'll see. as we mentioned, it was 7 tenths between the 20 drivers on qualifying one. So Danny Beresnay thinks that time is enough. He retires on the pits from this qualifying session number 2. And let's see, Iker Baena finishing up his lap. DRS opened as well in the rear of the Alpine. He crosses the line and it's a P5 with a 19667. Another driver not entering the dot 5 seconds as Domenico and Daniele have done.
Yeah,
I
as
think
well.
it's an Italian thing so far.
Yeah, the top 5 is real close. Well, the top 6. I mean, even Samuel Bean. In terms of the spec, with such quality of drivers, I don't think I can qualify as close being 2 tenths apart anymore. I think I can classify as close of Lovece and Adar, and then Beresnay, Christoph, and Baena. I don't think I can classify as close anything other than that. Capua is also very close to Manolo Villar.
You can put Beresnay without that. It's literally three
Yeah, it is. It
thousand.
is. It is. So yeah, that top 5 is very close. Then from Baena to Kruti, it's almost over a 10. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to call it anymore, because the guys are really are really so good at this game, and it just makes these qualifying sessions very exciting because everyone is so close. And if you are not on your day, sometimes you could still, if you are a top driver, sometimes you could still finish in the top 10 if you are not having a good day. But here, you are starting at the back if you don't have a great day. So it's really exciting to see things turn out. Alessio Di Capua in P9. His teammate Dario Lemulo is about to wrap up a lap of his own. He's about to wrap up sector number 2 with the seconds DRS zone of this circuit. A bunch of drivers have retired. Lemulo, I'm getting the information he's doing purple in the middle sector, not exactly sure if I believe that or not. Meanwhile, Rookie is either stopped to let other drivers by or he's spun. And Lemulo nullified his lap right here at the end. My timer says the drivers still have 4 minutes left, but I don't believe that is correct, right?
Only 1 minute and around 13 seconds left in this qualifying session. Let's see. Look, he's in trouble again. Manolo Villar really needs to nail this last attempt if he wants to progress into qualifying 3.
Yeah, Lemulo is out because he nullified at the transition between corners 13 and 14. Ben Sabo gets P6, is dethroned right away by Alessio Di Capua on improvement. So 09.6 for the number 23 of the Alpha Tauri. Now Samuel Bean is coming through. He's trying to improve on that 9.8. Will he do it? Yes, he does. Not by much. Not enough to improve his placement on the table. Now it's Manolo Villar, as you pointed out, is eliminated at this point. Can he get himself safe from things? I don't think he just posted a lap time. He was just completing his attempt. Zoltan Boda is also completing his out lap, and it is a Rookie at the moment as well. So we have 3 drivers at the moment, unless the other ones like Nardi Perez are on a second attempt on those soft tires. We cannot really tell at the moment who's bringing the car back into the pits. Is on a second. Okay, so he's on a run for it. Ben Zabo, I believe he's satisfied with that P7, so I believe he's bringing himself back into the pits.
Out.
Sorry, what?
Manolo Villar is out. He completely lost the car. I'm not sure.
10,
I think it's turn 8, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9. Arriving to 9. And it's end of qualifying session for one of our top drivers.
That is unfortunate. Right now we are going to have Samuel Bean is also limping back into the pits. Well, Rookie, we are at the dying moments of this session, and Rookie is trying to get himself into Q3. Will he able to join his teammate Lovece? He comes over the line. He's bang on 10th place. Zoltan Boda, can he say anything about that one? No, he cannot. can't go below a 199.43 and is in 11th best case scenario because we have Lemulo now on the third attempt on his tires. He gets P7, he dethrones Rookie from that 10th spot, and Boda is also knocked out alongside Nardi Perez. Dario Lemulo, after his issues, he was forced onto a third attempt, and despite the tire wear, was still able to grab himself a spot in the top 10 shootout. And Joanna, this track is very, it's a small track, it's a small lap, and that bunches everyone up together. The lap times just keep on coming, and this is what we have. Domenico Lovece, the top 3, 17 thousandths apart, the top 6, the top 7, 85 thousandths apart, and then the top 10 separated by just over 2/10. What an unbelievable performance by everyone in the top 10. Rookie, Zoltan Boda, Nardi Perez, Manolo Villar, and Sven Zerner are all out of the qualifying session. Sven Zerner got disqualified. Manolo Villar crashed during his last attempt, and the other drivers just got beat. Samuel Bean, he wasn't able to improve by much, but in the end, even if he did not improve, he would have been able to get himself through to Q3. So just getting himself through the skin of his, through the skin of his teeth. But Joanna, what do you have to say now for this Q3?
Oh man, we have so many good drivers already out of the last qualifying session. I'm curious to see what drivers like Manolo Villar and Istvan Puki can do on the race, because it's two drivers that in the two races so far they did P2, P3, one of them, and P3, P4, Istvan Puki. So very curious what they'll be able to do on a track there. It's not that easy to overtake, and they'll be starting in the rear half of the grid. But for the qualifying three, we have Iker Baena, Dani Beresnay Alessio, Di Capoas, Vele Christoph, Dario Iemolo, Domenico Lavecce, Samuel Bin, Patrick Krutic, Daniele Haddad, and Bence Zabo Koni. Two AlphaTauris, two Aston Martins, and then every man for himself on the other teams. A bit unfortunate for Sven Zerner, if I may say. It's one thing when you're just simply getting beaten, it's another when the game just disqualifies you, but it's how it works, unfortunately for him. And we'll see what this top 10 can give us. Some of them already out on track. I think it's Alessio Di Capo again. No, this time you got beaten by his teammate. But the AlphaTauri is on a hurry to get to the track once again on this third qualifying session.
They are the first cars out on the track once again. So, get ourselves on a lap with Dario Lemolo is getting ourselves through this flying lap in just a few moments. So we are going on board with him for a hopefully fast lap here at Zandvoort. So just getting yourself maximum momentum, DRS wide open at the back, and the lap is underway, waiting for about 50 meters away, maybe even less from turn 1. The bankingness of the corner does help carry some more speed, using the full width of the track to turn number 2. Hard on the brakes now for turn number 2. You can carry much more speed than you think because of the corner being banked. Now you get yourself through the slalom, throw yourself down into turn number 8. You really need to trust the car on this one, and you need confidence now on the brakes into turn number 8 and 9. And now closing up the second sector with the left-hander of turn number 10. DRS wide open on the exit of it. Iker Baena, that's a narrow miss there from Lemulo, trying to get some slipstream off of the Alpine driver. Gets through the corners 11 and 12, and now just a touch on the brakes at about 30 meters away. Avoid the curb on the inside at turn number 13, and foot to the floor into 14. There you have it. That's a lap at Zandvoort in Lemulo. Starts up the, the standing sheet with a 109.6. Scruti right behind him with a 908, and now his teammate Alessio Di Capo. Let's see what he can do at the moment. P3, so he aborted his lap, and Daniel Haddad is right behind him, but just completing his out lap. Domenico Lovece in the same boat. Dani Bereznai, he aborted his lap, so he's going for a second attempt on those sets of tires. Ben Szabo now, and the graphic shows that he's the best man on the second sector. Of course, not sure if I should believe that or not. Nonetheless, let's see what lap time he's capable of achieving now. He's coming over the line, and it is P2. 109.734 for the Milton Keynes-based team's driver. And after that, we have Stella Christoph. Let's see what the number 23 of the Alfa Romeo does. He's coming over the line now, and he gets himself P5. After that, I believe it is Alessio Di Capo's turn to close out a lap of his own. Of course, trying to improve on that 120 due to him aborting the lap, just like Zella and Bereznai did. Let's see what Di Capo can do despite being on a second lap on those tires. He pulls himself very close to his teammate. After that, we are going to have Baena closing up his first attempt. P6 also aborting that one, and Daniel Haddad gets on pole with a 109.484. Let's see the answer from Lovece now. He's coming over the line, the number 29, and he's only P2 for the time being. Dani Bereznai now coming through next, and he gets himself on P2, and he closes the margin from P2 to P1, separates Lovece from Haddad. And that's it for the first round of laps. Samuel Bin still in the pit, so only 9 drivers completing their first few attempts. Della Christoph is about to wrap up a lap of his own. Let's see what he can achieve now that he is on a proper lap. P5 splitting the AlphaTauris, and Joanna, things are as close as they have ever been so far this Q3.
Every driver I select to follow a purple lap, a purple sector showing up. Sometimes we know it's a bug, sometimes it is not. Dani Bereznai with that P2, it was a purple third sector, and now we have Iker Baena closing his first attempt, his first real attempt, with a 19648 that only puts him in P6.
Samuel Bin is already out of the garage. Dario Lemulo accomplished a 9.5 on a third lap, so third time of asking for Lemulo, but still got the lap together. The drivers still have time to go out there again a few moments, so not in a hurry particularly at the moment, especially Samuel Bin going quite slow through this middle sector, but he is the next driver to kick things off. But no, I believe that's actually Kruti. Yeah, Kruti came out of the pits before Samuel Bin, so Kruti will be eager to improve on that 9.8 as the field is chasing a 9.484. That brought it below a 9.5, but I didn't notice that. Did you get notification up top? I don't think we did about that one, but Haddad did improve his pole position to a 9.4 before pole was a 9.5, I believe.
I think it was a 9.4 when I watched at least.
Was it? I don't recall. Well,
but
nonetheless.
We can check. Yeah, it's his only lap.
It's his only lap. I was sure he posted a 9.5 on his first attempt, but
maybe,
oh well.
Maybe on qualifying too.
maybe. Well, Patrick Kruti now through the middle sector. Let's see what he can achieve. He did well at Spa. He'll come home with respectable points. Samuel Bin right behind him. They are the only 2 drivers on track at the moment. And the pole currently P9. Of course, going to have to wait and see. It's very easy to invalidate your lap through that transition of turns 13 to 14. He managed to keep it clean, of course, and he gets P5. So beats Zella to that last spot in the top 5. Now here comes Samuel Bin Does he have a trick up his sleeve? What can he accomplish with his first attempt? Doesn't go below, well, doesn't go beyond 10th place. So 9.7 for the Aston Martin driver. And we have that Bereznai out of the pits and about to go for another lap. And Joanna Bereznai, a bit of heartbreak at Spa, is in a good position right now, but once again, it's only Haddad in front of him. We're going for another round of this battle, so what do you think of it? We are going for the last attempt, and Lemulo isn't too far away. Lovece also got P2 in the first qualifying session, so we have at least 4, maybe 5 drivers with a prospect of full position around this run.
Samovin, I think, is one that won't be challenging for more positions at the moment. Complicated lap for the Spanish driver, and he's coming back to the pits with 3 minutes to go. So let's see if he still manages to try another one. There, Patrick in front of him also going to the pits. Leaving it for the last moment, but they have one advantage, that is, although in Q3 you only have 10 cars on track, they won't be meeting hopefully anyone on track in the middle of their laps.
So Darle Mulo just started his lap. Behind him is Ben Szabo, and behind him is Bereznai. So let's see how it goes for him. Meanwhile, Zerner, I keep on getting the notification that he's joining the lobby, so I'm not sure if anything is wrong with Zerner equipment or maybe internet, but it is a shame that he's having such issues. Hopefully for the race everything sorts out itself. Dario Mulo, though, in the middle sector at the moment, is also, if I recall correctly, one of the drivers who, after a strong qualifying performance, faced trouble at Spa. So
he is as consistent as Daniel Haddad, only unfortunately on a very much lower position. 2 P14s for the AlphaTauri drivers so far this season. Hopefully he'll be able to get on points. At least he'll have a good position to start it. To start going for it. Let's see if he can manage to finish on the points here in Zandvoort tonight.
exactly. In the meantime, he gets provisory pole. Ben Szabo also improves by a few tenths. 9.5 for the Red Bull driver. Up next, we have Domenico Lovecchi as Danny Bereznai has aborted his lap once more. What?
Racebug, he didn't even try. He spent the whole lap trying to burn fuel.
Yeah, I think it was either burning fuel or he did some mistake between turns 13 and 14. That's
he was burning fuel before turn 1.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I noticed that he was going really slowly through the main straight. So it is what it is, though. Let's see what he's capable of achieving. I believe he's now underway with his lap. Zella Christoph with a 9.6, 7th place for him at the moment. Now we have Daniel Haddad trying to reclaim pole position. Let's see what the Aston Martin driver does. He's coming over the line, and yes, he does. 1:09.349. And we are in the last minute of this session. Patrick Cruti just starts out his lap. Samuel Bean right behind him. Now we are going to have Alessio Di Capua perhaps on a lap. Dario Lemolo is bringing himself into the pits. Iker Baena is also trying to improve on that 09.6. Let's see, can he achieve that? I don't think he did. Not an improvement by the Alpine driver, unfortunately for him. Alessio Di Capua now is going for it, but he makes a mistake. He crashes out of turn number 11. He crashes, and behind him is Zella Christoph. I'm not sure if he is on a flying lap at the moment. He doesn't look slow by any means, so let's see if he pulls off into the pits or if he's going for a second attempt on that set of tires. Yes, he is. He's coming over the line now, gets himself P3. We have the answer now from Bereznai. He crosses over the line, and it is P3 from him, dethroning the Alfa Romeo driver. Domenico Lovecchi is relegated to P5. Can he get himself back up the field? No, he's bringing himself back into the pits. So now it is about Samuel Bean, as Patrick Cruti has aborted his attempt. He's out of the session P7 is the best he can hope for, unless Samuel Bean also has some trouble. He's coming over the line now, and that's exactly what he gets. P7, Patrick Ruti relegated to P8, Iker Baena relegates him to P9 as he gets right there at the end on a second lap. A second time of asking for the Alpine driver, and 1:09.600. He probably couldn't get that one if he was trying to, but nonetheless, qualifying is over, and Daniel Haddad is on pole. Dario Lemulo in P2, Danny Bresna and Zella Christoph share the second row of the grid runner.
What a qualifying session, both for our championship leader and for Dario Iemulo, who has had two very unfortunate results so far, but looking very sharp if he manages to keep it together tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So going to get the official standings soon, and there you have it. Haddad on pole with Dario Lemulo in P2. Dario Lemulo in P2. Then it is Dani Perezna. Then Zella Christoph in P4. Domenico Lovece gets P5. Ben Zabo in P6. Iker Baena in P7. Samuel B in P8. Patrick Ruti P9. Alessio De Capa rounds up our top 10. And top 10 separated by 3 tenths. A little bit more separation than what we had in Q2. But, of course, now drivers are used to this. Of course, they have also been forced, some of them have been forced to go on a second lap on those softs. Took a bit of life out of the tires. So, that's probably caused a little separation in the field. Nonetheless, we are headed now to our race. And while we wait for the formation lap, just reminding all of our audience that we have started a giveaway for the new BenQ monitor, new Mobiuz monitor, the EX3410R, and to win one of these, you need to head onto Twitter, follow the Mobiuz gaming page, follow ORL's Twitter page, like the tweets they have made of this giveaway, and then retweet that same tweet, of course, with the hashtags that you see on screen to have a chance at winning the Mobiuz EX3410R. So with that, we are headed now to the lobby, and the skies are quite threatening at the moment, John.
Very Dutch looking, if I may say. The rain is always near in the Netherlands, and once again proving it. Let's see. I'm quite curious what strategy the drivers outside of the top 10 will choose, especially if there's rain coming, if they have that indication from their race engineers. So it might mix things up a bit if the top 10 on the software compound has to deal with the top that those starting out of top 10 won't have to.
Yes, Gunnar is finding it, I believe. I'm not sure if we are going to have to restart the lobby or not. Just going to get up to the race director, but yeah, Zerner is still having issues, unfortunately. Istvan Puki needs to be very careful on the start, because he's starting right behind Sven Zerner, and if that McLaren doesn't go, he needs to be ready to take avoiding action. Nonetheless, let's take a look at what the drivers have in terms of tires. Outside the top 10, only Zerner is on the softs, but I'm guessing that is because he didn't get... Yeah, not by his choice. So, Napadovsky actually goes on the hards. He did do a very good job last time around in Spa. Can he achieve points for the second race in a row? Napadovsky, and to maybe kickstart his season. Trying to do that. Didn't get the job he wanted done in qualifying. Might be able to do something for strategy. Codor Ningolo also did a great job. The reserve driver was racing for the Haas and also got himself in the points. this time around didn't go accordingly to plan his qualifying efforts. So he's starting from P18. Let's see what he can achieve. Manolo Villar surely wants to be further up the field than he's actually at the moment, but he did crash on his last attempt in Q2, and that's why he is starting in P14. Both Mercedes did recover quite a bit in the last stages at Spa. They need to pull something up their sleeve and try to do the same this afternoon as well. At the front, Daniel Haddad, the man is on top of his game. He's on top of his game. Pole position at the moment. Drivers are lining themselves up on the grid slots according to their qualifying efforts, and soon we will get order from race director to start things off. Lights will get themselves bright red, and there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix. Good start there from Haddad and Lemulo. Danny Beresney as well. Ben Sabado is already 3 wide into turn 1. Domenico Lovecha has to back out of it, but now he's in a fight with Samuel Bean for P6. He manages to get clear of the Aston Martin, but he lunges down the inside of Iker Baena, trying to get that 7th place. They are still side by side. Zella Christoph also fends off Ben Sabo for P5, but further back Sven Zerner in P12. Iker Baena got himself past Samuel Bean, and now Bean is leading a trio as well, but now everything has sorted itself out. Patrick Ruti loses out to Alessio Di Capo, unfortunately, and Istvan Puki challenging Manolo Villar. They're still side by side as they get well into the second sector. Let's see how this one goes for them out of turn number 10. No DRS available, of course. Codorningolo has privileged view of this battle as we head into the chicane. Istvan Puki gets the inside line, gets the maneuver done. P14 for the Red Bull driver it is. And Joanna, a bit of a chaotic first lap. I don't think things have done settling itself though, because we do have Domenico Lovecha challenging Ben Sabo, and also we have Samuel Bean with Iker Baena. Let's see how that one goes. The Alpine carries on with P7, but looks like Lovecha around the outside of turn 1 with a beautiful maneuver grabs himself a spot once again in the top 5. Istvan Puki getting through the ghost of Sven Zerner and Joanna. Exciting first lap, but from here on in the track is quite narrow. Not sure as to what extent the drivers are going to have opportunities to overtake. Alessio Di Capo though is filling up the mirrors of Samuel Bean for the moment.
It seems like Sven Zerner might have rejoined because the car just jumped behind. Yeah, and he's now not ghosting again. He was in the car for the start. There was no issues with Manolo Villar. They both got away really well, but then he disconnected, and I was thinking maybe that could be a problem for both Istvan Puki and Manolo Villar, as they had to make sure that they didn't lose contact to the cars ahead. They managed to pass him, only losing about half a second, so it tends to the front, but thankfully we are now having our gaps back, and we have Sven Zerner back in the car, attacking Codorningolo into turn 1, getting the inside, and I think the position as well.
Exactly. So he moves up into P15. Hopefully we have no further issues with McLaren. He did lose a few positions, but he's not too far off of the place he joined the track. He is disregarding safety measures though, because he is driving without a helmet, so maybe some weight reduction techniques there for the number 3 of the McLaren. Back at the front we have Daniel Haddad trying to get some separation, but Lemulo is not too far behind. He's keeping up with the Aston Martin at the moment. Samuel Bean is pressurized by Alessio Di Capo, and in turn he has to pressurize the Alpine of Iker Baena. So that's a 3-way battle that I'm sure will have some development soon. DRS is available to the drivers now. Let's go on board with the AlphaTauri. He's quite healthy on ERS at the moment. Alessio Di Capo though, he loses out to P11. So a mistake by Alessio Di Capo. And now Nardi Perez is all over the back of him. Can't quite find a gap to put his Williams on though. But Alessio Di Capo with a mistake and is relegated out of the top 10.
The drivers so far in the risk of losing DRS, BenQ and Patrick Urtic. Now regaining a bit of time to the car ahead. Let's see if they can keep it. The Red Bull driver was on verge of losing it last lap as well, and it would be quite dangerous for him as he had Iker Baena and Samuel been really close to him. While Alessio Di Capo dives into the inside of Zoltan, who now becomes the outside into the second DRS zone. Let's see which of these drivers have the better exit. It seems to me that it's Alessio Di Capo. Let's see if Zoltan tries to answer or if he'll stay P11 for now.
Exactly, so Di Capo gets himself back into the top 10. Further up ahead, the Mulo is getting DRS on Haddad, but he won't be able to pull anything just yet. Istvan Pukki is on the back of Nardi Perez, but Perez also has DRS, so that is just the nature of this track. You don't have much space to overtake anywhere else, and with DRS it just creates this DRS train, and no one can really find places apart from the opening laps of this Grand Prix. That's why I've seen some drivers be maybe a bit more aggressive, but it did grant us some spectacle. That overtake from Lovece around the outside of Ben Szabo into turn 1. Also, Samuel Bean trying really hard to overtake Iker Baena because he knew this was the situation most of the field were going to find themselves in. Alexei Morichondo, a day to forget for him at the moment. He is really far down the order. And yeah, things just not going his way at the moment. And Darn with a mistake. Speaking of drivers whose day is not going their way, Darn has a moment out of turn 10 and is also dropped down to the back of the field. Meanwhile, at the front, Lemulo, no chance to overtake Haddad at the moment. And I believe that is the same for most of the field right now, Joanna.
First, Van Zerner still with the better performance of the softer compound. A bit of a dive into Manolo, a bit of a contact on the exits, but the position stayed the same so far. He looks into the inside, into the airpin of turn 3 with the banking, but nothing changes. P15 for Van Zerner so far. He knows that those softer compounds will start to lose some performance in a bit, while the medium tire compound drivers will be able to go a bit longer and have the better tire at the end. I think it's also a good sign that Zoltan Boda is being able to keep up with Alessio Di Capo. Bodes well for the drivers on the medium compound. And yeah, we have the first break in BenQ, I think. First driver in risk of losing DRS to the driver ahead, and that would be a good job for the top 5. Let's see if it happens or not. It's really on the verge of losing it, and I think, yeah, he lost it. No DRS for the Red Bull driver.
And
thankfully for him, Iker Baena is not really close to him this lap, but it might make a difference on the next one.
yeah, and Manolo Villar making some sort of mistake. He just dropped behind Cordoningolo. He drops all the way down to P16, so he was looking to recover some places after the crash in qualifying, but he's not heading in terms of the order of the field. He's heading in the opposite direction of his hopes. He's down in P16. Let's see how it goes now. The top 5. Maybe Lovece has realized that he managed to make a gap in the field and is really pushing, really pressurizing Zella Christoph to try and keep Pensabo away from that top 5. Pressurizing the Alfa Romeo, who is still keeping up with Perez now, who is in turn keeping up with Emulo, who is pressurizing Haddad at the moment. Alessio Di Capo still trying to climb up the order. Patrick Ruti right ahead of him, but a few places up the field. Iker Baena is now going to get the DRS on Ben Szabo, but he does not have battery charge. Iker Baena is really low on his ERS resource, so he's not able to capitalize on the fact that Ben Szabo is out of DRS. Whoa, that was a slide and a half by the Red Bull driver coming out of that turn number 2. Managed to catch it though, but maybe these soft tire runners are starting to struggle with their Pirellis, even though Zoltan Boda, the leader of the medium runners, losing out a little bit to Alessio Di Capo, who is glued to the rear of Patrick Cruti. But look at that, from Iker Baena onwards, everyone is glued to each other. You could throw a blanket and it would cover all of them at the moment. And really tight racing at this point of these early stages. Only lap 8, they do go by quickly, but we have 36 to complete on this Grand Prix. Samuel Bean is chomping at the bits to get the arrest over Iker Baena. Iker Baena is vulnerable in terms of his battery charge. Samuel Bean has a battery full of it. He's going on with overtake mode, going on with the slipstream, aiding as well. He gets squeezed by Iker Baena, but he gets side by side with him into turn 1. Baena does the most he can around the outside. He's able to maintain that P7. Yes, he does. Iker Baena, brilliant maneuver to defend, but nonetheless courage from Samuel Bean to charge down the inside. Didn't work out this time around though, Joanna.
Fell a bit like Silverstone back in F1 2021, for real. Before the how should I say it? Before the most famous crash of the season, the with the Iker almost losing the car on the entrance to the DRS range, but manages to grasp it. He seems to be a bit closer to BenQ this time around. Let's see if he can properly arrange an attack on him. But then again, BenQ has quite a bit more of battery than Iker Baena has.
Exactly.
In the front, we have Domenico Lovecchi trying to take a peek at Zelle Christoph, but not yet. Not an attack from the Ferrari driver.
Exactly. Sven Zerner, he either made a mistake or his soft tires are really giving him serious issues. Codorningolo, realizing the situation he's in, tries to have a charge at Zerner. Didn't quite work out, but the gap is forming. Zerner is probably having some issues with his tires. That means that Zoltan Boda is on the driving seat at the moment. He's on the reverse strategy and is the leader of the reverse strategy runners, and he's been keeping an eye on the top 10, making sure he's in the RS range so he can keep up in terms of pace with the soft runners. Even though Ben Sabo has created that cut, there's already 3 seconds between the first half of the top 10 and the second. So it is interesting to see, first of all, if Boda still has something in the tank to push after everyone pits, because if he wants to take a chance at winning, he needs to bridge those 3 seconds. So he needs to do something after the soft runner pit. He needs to do something to bridge that gap. Samuel Bean taking a peek at the inside, nothing coming off of it. Cordoningolo though is finally pulling off a maneuver on Sven Zerner, who looks like he doesn't have many defensive options at the moment. And up a position goes the Williams. Rana still at the front. That's top 5. They're keeping each other honest, aren't they?
Quite no, I think it's not even. Well, Domenico has been threatening Svele a bit, but excluding those two, I think it's more of a strategic race right now. Trying to see who blinks first, who goes to the pit, who dives into the pits first, who tries to do an overcut. At the same time, trying to keep the car on track, because a penalty here could be could have quite a big impact on their race results. Danny for certain will remember the last race, even though it wasn't just a pen. He also had some damage from the fights with, I think it was the Ferrari. But yeah, no attacks in the front, but all sticking together. In the meantime, we have Samuel Bean and Patrick Cruti coming into the pits. Changing to the medium compound. I think they'll
sorry
try
to interrupt you, but there's Codoningolo spins. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but there was some mess between Zerner. Zerner is... Oh, there's contact. But Zerner tries to share that chicane with Manolo Villar, and I'm not sure about the legality of that when Manolo Villar has contact with Sven Zerner, and into turn 1, Codorningolo spun, and I'm not sure as well if it wasn't from contact between either Villar or Zerner, because they were side by side into turn 1. Villar came in hot, actually contact was made with Sven Zerner on the outside, and Codorningolo also spun, so I'm not sure if Villar also touched the rear of the Williams. At the same time, he went into the side of the McLaren. There's yellow flags, and there's still Codorningolo. No, that's Morichon, right? That's Morichon, yeah. Morichon causing yellow flags once again. And Emulo, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, as well as Iker Baena. So, on a track where you are on a DRS train for so long, 5 seconds of penalty for these two drivers.
Tragic moment for both Alpines at the same time, mostly. One getting 5 seconds, Alexis, who was already having not the best of days, with a spin out of turn 3, so even further into the back of the field. In the front, we have a bit of a gap now between Svele and Daniele Haddad, because Dani Berejnei and Dario Iemulo just pitted both of them. Dani knows he is now on net P2, considering that Iemulo just got a 5-second penalty.
Now, this is where most of the moves are going to be made. Of course, the drivers who just pitted are trying to go on the undercut to move up some places, but any driver who has just stuck with it in the DRS train, but now has something to give, just doing like a very fast in-lap, just using their battery charge, using the fuel, using any sort of life left on these tires, to try to nullify the undercut. Let's see how it goes. At the moment, the Daniel Haddad is going to rejoin the track in P8 ahead of Rookie, perhaps? No, right behind Rookie. Ooh, bit of a squeeze there, but he did get himself P1, and P2, Danny Bereznai, is right behind that Ferrari. So that was a really important move for Haddad to make, put a car between himself and P2 at the moment, or what we assume to be P2 once everything is settled. Then another car of Sven Zerner this time around is between P2 and the P3 of Zelle Christoph. Dominic Lovece in P4 from the looks of things, and then I'm not sure who else was in the top 5. No, it was Di Capo who hasn't pitted yet. So let's see where Di Capo rejoins. Zella goes on a move on Sven Zerner, who again doesn't have many options in terms of defending that one.
Yeah, but crucially, Sven Zerner was able to take Zelle from Dani's DRS. At least he tried. I think, yeah, he didn't get. Zelle has to use the battery, and he doesn't have much of it with losing DRS from the car head. Meanwhile, Dani Berejnei passing El Huki into turn 1, still in the DRS zone of Daniele Haddad, who we must have point out lost position to Dario Yemlu, but he will be quite thankful that Dario got that 5-second penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Yamul is now the leader. Everything is settled. I missed him. Actually, Napadovsky was also overtaken by Emulo at the beginning of the previous lap. Now Lovece, being opportunistic, he knew that he had to overtake Sven Zerner, and he did follow Zelle Christoph into turn 1. So Christoph overtook in the second sector. Lovece was able to get the move done on Zerner into turn 1. That was an important move for the number 29 of the Ferrari. Dani Bereznai now keeping up with Daniel Haddad, while Daniel Haddad is trying to put Haas between himself and the McLaren. Let's see this from the perspective of the driver of the Woking-based team. Daniel Haddad goes for it with DRS. Fastest lap of the race for Bereznai, but he doesn't find the gap to put his McLaren in. Domenico Lovece overtakes his teammate, and Patrick Ruti overtakes Codorningolo as well. So of course lots of the drivers now on old tires don't have much of a chance to fight. Oh, but Kruti makes a mistake and drops down multiple places. Meanwhile, Dani Bereznai just gets past Diaz. Actually doesn't lose too much time doing that. So he's still on his target of being on the DRS of Haddad's.
Yes, when he passed, I think it was El Rookie, he was 8 tenths behind Daniele, so he actually managed to not lose any time, even gain a bit. He'd now lost it. But Dario Yemlo is already in the back of someone else. This time is Manolo Villar, who is still in P5 without having pitted. They still have to hold on to those tires. Who doesn't have to is Alessio Di Capo, who finally pits. Let's see where he exits. I think it was a bit of exaggerated overcut, but let's see if this difference in tires makes the difference in the result at the end of the race.
I'm not sure about that. He's really dropping all over the field. He was in the top 5 now. No, he was actually battling for P10, right? I'm not sure where.
The top 2 was Dario Yemlo.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, exactly. He was battling for around P10. I'm not sure how that one turned out for him. We are going to have to wait and see for the drivers on the reverse strategy to pit to really make a clearer picture of all of these converging strategies. Of course, now Dario Yemolo doing his hardest to keep himself away from Haddad, but Manolo Villar is giving the DRS to the Aston Martin. So Olo really needs to find an extra gear, which is not easy to do. He did get the execution on track perfect in terms of his speed strategy. He did jump Daniel Haddad, but he overcooked it into the pit lane and got punished for it. Now Daniel Haddad goes on the inside of Manolo Villar. He's trying to find some separation between himself and Dani Bereznai, and he has something he has a bit more space to breathe regarding that specific battle at the moment. Zabo loses out to Alessio Di Capua into turn 1. He's not giving up just yet. Goes around the outside on turn number 3. Can't quite pull it off. And a while ago we also had a battle between, I believe it was Ben Zabo and Patrick Ruti. No, it was actually... yes, sorry, it was the Mercedes.
It was Patrick passing Codorningol on the straight, and then Bence tried to dive also into the Haas driver, didn't really quite work out, and Alessio Di Capo saying thank you very much. If you're going to do that kind of maneuver, I'll take advantage of it, getting the position. Codorningolo then letting both drivers by after turn 3, but it's now Patrick Ruti in the hardest spot as we go into the final corner of this track, with Alessio quite close to him and Bence looking from a bit farther behind.
At the time we do have Patrick Ruti, as you mentioned. Alessio Di Capua goes for a maneuver up into P14. He goes. Those 5 laps fresher tires truly help him, trying something different from rivals, and we're going to have to wait and see how well that turns out. Dani Bereznai hasn't been able to overtake Manolo Villar. That does help a little bit Daniel Haddad, but Manolo is not quite losing out on DRS to Haddad, so for the time being everything is alright with Bereznai. Oh, just as I mentioned it, Manolo goes above 1 second. He still get DRS on this second DRS zone, on this shorter DRS zone. He still got it, but in terms of the delta, he's on the verge of losing DRS. Let's see out the exit of turn 13. No, he still gets DRS now for the main straight. So Bereznai can still be maybe content with the situation. Of course, Manolo wants to mitigate any time loss from running on older tires by sticking on the DRS and slipstream of the rivals on fresher tires. Samuel Bean promotes himself to P11 by overtaking Rookie, and I believe really other particular battles going on at the moment. Icabena is pressurizing Rookie, but without an option to to overtake just yet. He might pull the trigger on the upcoming right-hander. He carries much more speed. Oh, he goes hard on the brakes. A lunge from Iker Baena. And he moves past Rookie. What a maneuver from the number 2 of the Alpine there. Grabbing himself P12. He knew that maneuver was important to keep up with Samuel Bean, as the duo is now keeping up with Napadovsky, trying to close in on the Haas driver. His teammate, Napadovsky's teammate, is still leading this Grand Prix. I believe the drivers are going to pit in the next 2-3 laps. So, and right on cue, Istvan Pukki is the first of this trio to go into the pits and swap for a set of soft tires.
I think we'll drop quite a bit on the order. And I think that both Nardi and Zoltan will try to answer right on next lap. It's P17 for now for the Hungarian, but we must not forget there are quite a few drivers that still have to pit. Curious
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have Iker Baena now trying to replicate the maneuver he did on Rookie, side by side, entering this fast downhill left-hander. You really need to just throw the car into it and hope to make it stick on the other side. That battle with Napadovsky did extend the gap past a second, and Baena is not too healthy in terms of the ERS, so let's see if Bean tries to explore that. I'm not sure how aware of that well, Samuel Bean or his race engineer might be, if he has one. Looks like, yeah, he is struggling. Baena is out of the RS range, and now he's going to bring a bit of a tow to Napadovsky, and with that, he's bringing Alessio Di Capo closer to him. Zoltan Boda, though, just pitted. Alessio Di Capo trying to make a maneuver on Napadovsky. Yes, he does. Rather academic, actually. The RS-aided maneuver there. Istvan Pukki gets past Kodor Ningolo, and he is hunting down Ben Szabo, his teammate, who makes a move on the Ferrari of Rookie. Promotes himself to P13. Dela Christoph pressurizing Manolo Villar, and he has Domenico Lovece all over his back. Danny Bereznai took a bit too long to overtake the Mercedes. He lost the RS range to Haddad. That was crucial for his aspirations. Daniel Haddad now just needs to manage the gap, try to get past Lemulo. If not, Lemulo's penalty will get the job done of getting him behind Haddad. So I would say that once again the Aston Martin driver is on the driver's seat of this race.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but while you were commentating on Iker Baena's pass into turn 7, right behind you, Alessio Di Capo was doing exactly the same to El Houki. So quite a fun overtake to observe, as they were doing it exactly the same at the same time. Quite a few of changes on our table, with 3 drivers pitting: Nardin, Napadovsky and El Houki. Finally going for the soft compound. Curious to see if Istvan Pukki can close the gap to his teammate. He is on 1.3 seconds behind him at the moment. And he knows that if he gets to Bente, he'll probably be fighting at least for P10, as he's quite close to Patrick Ruti, who is having a bit of a tougher race tonight.
Exactly, he's really on a charge today. Trying, of course, this reverse strategy does allow that. This is a track where the traction does count a lot. Very many traction zones around this track. Now, his closing in is already gotten within a second of Ben Szabo, who is going to have the DRS of Patrick Ruti. So if he can overtake both of them, then he can have a chance at attacking Capua and Iker Baena, and we have someone pulling off into the pits. That's Manolo Villar, I believe, is the last driver. No, we still have Kodor Ningolo and Morichon, but those are the last few drivers on the reverse strategy. Manolo Villar is going on the softs, overtaken by Pukki, Boda, Perez, and yeah, he's coming out last out of that group of drivers.
Crucially for Svele Christoph, before pulling into the pits, Manolo Villar still gave him DRS, so he was able to close the gap that was more than 1 second to Dani Berejne, who did not have the DRS, and he's now going to have to be careful with the driver on his mirrors, because he will not have DRS to defend. They have almost, well, 2.6 seconds into Daniel Haddad. There are no lappers anywhere by, so Dani Beresnev with a difficult situation here, except that he has a healthier battery life going on than Zele Christoph, who is on his last fifth of battery.
Lovech is putting the pressure on him. He's going with DRS mode, overtake mode as well. Everything turned up to 11. He's going around the outside of turn number 1. Let's see how that one pans out. He's going on the outside. He did. Everyone I've noticed going around the outside has been able to defend maneuver, so maybe the outside is the line to take into turn 1. He gets himself alongside for the hairpin of turn number 3. Let's see, it's now a traction battle between these two Italian machines. Christoph does have the nose ahead. There's a little bit of contact, and Domenico Lovech manages to get it done. Up into P4 it goes, and Napadovsky is out. Napadovsky retires in the pits, but his AI, I believe, is still taking it to the track. Not sure. We're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully it doesn't disturb anyone's races, that AI. For time being, Lovech, great battle, moves up. Alessio Di Capo also moving up because Baena goes wide. Baena goes wide and is going to lose multiple places. Whoa, thank God he ghosted, because that could have been a nasty impact. Meanwhile, Patrick Cruty in 2 laps loses 2 places, 1 to each Red Bull. Patrick Cruty now trying to take himself on, like, well, getting a toe off of Istvan Pukki, who's surely going to pull off the maneuver on his teammate. I don't see his teammate really putting up much of a fight at the moment. And there you have it, but behind him, look at that, those 3 wide into turn number 1, there's contact, and once again goes for a spin, Iker Baena. The contact didn't look like too much, but it was just enough to unsettle that Alpine. Goes for a spin once more, unfortunately, and then he just retires. I'm not sure how much that was due to frustration or to overheated tires, but we do have a safety car, and yeah, I understand the frustration, but yeah, if that one was out of that really, yeah, and Manolo Villar is doing the same, really. Well, not doing the same because I don't know what happened to Iker Baena, but naughty touch on the wall there by Villar. Safety car is deployed, and that really kills any chance for these drivers who are on the reverse strategy. So that retirement, and yeah, Villar keeps on trying to retire, I guess. That, unfortunately, that does kill the show, fortunately. But we do have multiple drivers on the pits, including Gemulo, who is going to serve his penalty and bolt on a set of softs and try to do the best job he can from here on in. Is rejoining the track ahead of Lovech, so P9 for him. A lot of drivers not pitting though, opting to go for the track position. Daniel Haddad, one of them. Dani Beresnev now right behind him. Like that is a bit of an issue with Morichon, perhaps. Yeah, Morichon. I'm not sure if he overtook Haddad or not, but he is unlapping himself. So he's going to be able to still be on the leader's lap. Fortunately for him.
Crucially for some of our drivers, they were able to clean those 5 seconds. But on the downside, some of them picked up 5 seconds like El Rookie.
Yeah, exactly. So Lemulo is still showing me as a penalty. Oh, Lemulo is on 3-second penalties.
3 seconds.
Yeah. So he got rid of 5. He still has 3 for exceeding track limits. Rookie did grab, as you pointed out. Rookie grabs a 5-second penalty for exceeding pit lane speed limit. And Morichon, I believe Morichon is for the track limits as well. If you could show me the penalties for a second. Yes, Morichon is also penalized for exceeding track limit. So, race is neutralized. Dani Beresnev does get another crack at challenging Haddad. And Haddad as now, of course, he probably didn't want any of that, but yeah, he does have one lap fresher tires than Berezna. That might make some difference.
And
Let's see how
Alessio De
that.
Capo now has 5 laps younger tires than some Albin ahead of him.
Yeah, yeah. And Pookie's on softs, so
But
yeah,
used softs.
yeah. But of course, he's done what 4 laps on them because the last
6.
two have been on safety car circumstances,
Sure.
so he's not really pushing them. So he has effectively 4 laps of actual racing on those tires. So the numbers will be a bit deceiving from here on in terms of the number of laps done and their actual life or wear levels. So yeah, things are going to get a bit dicey. Will Pookie be able to take the most out of those softs and make up some positions? Will Yamulu and Lovece, considering they are on the softest tires out of everyone, as well as Bensabo and Kruti, like, are they going to be able to challenge Pookie, Boda and Perez? Or is everyone in the top 5 going to drop off massively, considering they are on older, harder tires, and they are going to get overtaken by that trio of Pookie, Boda and Perez, and then overtaken by Emulo, Lovece and the likes of them, because the difference in tire performance is that big. Really a lot to figure out in the laps to come. 8 laps to go. I believe we are going to get, we are going to restart the race in the next lap. The safety car will be brought back into the pits at the end of lap number 29. So you have 7 laps of racing, 7 laps for everyone to figure all of these factors out and how they pan out in the great scheme of the race. Van Zenner goes into the pits again to serve the penalty he got on the last pit stop. He did exceed the speed limit, so now takes advantage of this situation to go once again into the pits, clean out that penalty. Morichon can't clean out his because Morichon's 3 seconds are for exceeding track limits, but he's also getting on the freshest tires out of everyone. Cookie also pitted recently, so it's going to be very interesting. Can Haddad make it 3-for-3 in championship? That's going to be also a very big talking point after this race for sure. He can start to run away with it, but in the meantime we are going to wait for this Aston Martin 1-2 to dissolve. And Joanna, how do you see all of this?
I'm curious to see. I think that Berezna won't attack into the last lap, or the second to last, as it's the last time they crossed the whole straight, and I think they'll all try to keep up on the DRS margin to each other. We've seen in the beginning of the race, although the conditions are a bit different, that the medium tire runners were able to keep up with the drivers in softs. Let's see if the same thing happens once Daniele decides to launch this race. I'd say he should restart it as late as possible to avoid giving it to everyone down the first corner. So yeah, that's exactly what he's doing, just warming up his tires, trying to not let Berezna. Yeah, and he restarted the race.
Ooh,
Something
there's
happening
a collision.
down.
Yeah, Samuel Bin and Alessio Di Capua have collided. Daniele Haddad now gets the race underway. Haddad, of course, he was trying to not give as much of a runaway for everyone to pressurize him. Domenico Lovece ignoring yellow flags. I guess he overtook before the safety car line, or before the race start, or the lap start line. So he overtook illegally, I guess, and got 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Danny Berezna hunting Daniel Haddad, but Bin and Capo with that collision. Emulo and Lovece also, I believe, were in some sort of contact. No, that is 3 seconds of penalties for Lemulo, and the 5 seconds Lovece just acquired for ignoring yellow flags, according to F1 2021. Patrick Kruti, is he going for a maneuver? No, he's just peeking at inside. No, he actually goes for one around the outside. Ben Zabo caught napping there, and Patrick Kruti goes on a maneuver. Great one from the Mercedes driver, and he moves up into P12. Further up ahead, the top two still peacefully still peace amongst these top 5 on the mediums, but Istvan Puki, he is smelling blood for sure, especially with the penalties for the two drivers ahead of him. He knows that he needs to capitalize on this. He knows that he needs to make the full use out of these tires. Meanwhile, Nardi Perez is getting challenged. Oh, what a snap from the back there from Lemulu. He managed to catch the slide, but that was a scare and a half for Lemulu coming out of turn number 3. He was challenging Nardi Perez, couldn't quite get the move done, probably because of that moment out of the traction zone of that hairpin, but he's still putting up the pressure on the Spaniard of the Williams ahead of him, and he goes on the inside. There's contact. Domenico Lovece, opportunistic, is going to make it 3 wide all the way down into turn number 11. The RS is not available to these drivers just yet. The Ferrari is a little bit boxed in, some argy-bargy with the Williams, but Lovece and Yamulu, both of them, move up a place. Nardi Perez, he fought valiantly, couldn't quite get it done. He's demoted to P10. Great moment of racing from all 3 of them, Joanna.
Yeah. Not sure if Istvan Puki is going to try to go for a move or just wait for the race to end. Right now, I think Sam Albin would drop out of... Well, they would definitely drop out of the points, but they wouldn't even stay P11 or P12. It would be that low that the 5 seconds would take them, as the grid is quite packed. But he needs to be mindful of Zoltan Boda, who is right behind him, with also no pens, and looking to capitalize on any mistake that the Hungarian in front of him might make. So far, Dani Beres losing a bit of contact with Daniele Haddad, still obviously in the DRS zone, and Daniele saving a lot of energy to try to defend as well. I'm curious to see. Of course, Dani makes no sense to attack before the last run into turn 1, as it would mean just giving Daniele an opportunity to do the same to him. In the meantime, we have Alessio Di Capo and Samuel Bin going
sorry, there's contact. Boda and Lemulu into turn 1. Lemulu around the outside. There's contact with Boda and goes for a spin. And he's dropping all the way to the back of the field. Retires from the race out of frustration. But there was contact between Boda and Lemulu. Domenico Lovece now is hunting the Haas driver. Let's see how that one develops. Let's not forget, of course, Lemulu had the penalty for exceeding track limits, but Lovece, he might be able to contest that ignoring yellow flags. I'm not sure what happened, so I don't think anyone can count on that penalty for the Ferrari driver, because it might be an appealable one with the stewards. We'll have to wait and see. So for now, I'll just take his track position. Currently 8, pressurizing Zoltan Boda, who is pressurizing his fellow Hungarian Istvan Puki, who's trying his best to keep some pressure on the top 5 up ahead. Of course, Bini and Capua have been penalized. Domenico Lovece, though, gets a much better run out of turn 13 and gets the move done. Brilliant maneuver there. He also gets the DRS on Puki, but not able to make a maneuver done just yet into that P6. But Lovece really making sure Boda didn't have a fighting chance there. Boda having, he hesitated on the transition between turns 13 and 14, and Lovece was right there ready to capitalize. Great job from him. Of course, Boda at the time had almost double of the tire wear of Lovece, surely, so that also helped affairs. Definitely Capua, though, now needs to start looking at these mirrors, because I'm sure Puki's tires are starting to wear out a little bit, so some urgency might be going on in that Red Bull, especially with the red of Maranello filling up his mirrors.
Domenico Lovece isn't happy, even though he has that 5-second penalty, doing his best to try to get as many positions on track as possible. He also knows that he has 2 drivers in P5 and P4 that have the same pen that he has. So doing the maneuver on Istvan Pukki quite early, in my opinion, with a much better exit. Also, perhaps maybe due to the fresher tires that the Ferrari car has. Let's see if he still makes another maneuver into Alessio on the next run into turn one, which is objectively the last one we'll have. Quite curious to see as well if Dani Berejne will try. Well, he will definitely try, but if he will be able to pass Daniele Haddad. Curious, yeah, Daniele finally started using his battery. He was on 90% lap before, and Dani is
Yeah,
using
they are
it as
both.
well to try to keep up, but this might cost him not having the RS to attack him on the straight. Let's
Well,
see.
they
Let's see
have
how well
been.
they do this chicane, because it can be quite crucial for either aspirations to win the race. Seems to me like
Yeah, that's the other thing.
That had a bit of a better exit. Let's see if it's enough for Dani Berejnay to try to claim P1. He looks a bit far from Daniel, in my opinion, and I think the Aston Martin driver will actually make it 3 out of 3.
Yeah, exactly. So, not really able to get the move done at this point. Not sure if he's going to ever be able to get the move done. But I'm not sure if Lovece is really getting. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not sure as to what extent is Boda and Pookie and everybody else on that train counting on those 5 seconds from Lovece, because I wouldn't. But he did get the move done. Pookie, he had access to the RS, but Lovece still got the move done and is
Couple
now.
losing a bit of control of his car, and Domenico Lovetti climbing one more position on this final lap. He's now up to P5. Again on turn 9, a bit of a complicated spot for our drivers. Alessio Di Capo losing control of the car with the dirty air from Samuel Bean, and let's see if Domenico Lovetti still gets the position from the Aston Martin
Yeah,
driver. In the
we'll have to
meantime,
wait. Sorry to interrupt, but you'll have to wait because at the moment you have the man of the moment. He makes it 3 for 3. Daniel Haddad crosses over the line to take the win of this Dutch Grand Prix. Brilliant job from all the drivers, and of course, such a compact field at the end here. Of course, can't quite get the rundown. We'll have to wait a little bit. But Istvan Pukki is our driver of the day. And it's another win from the man in green. It's another win for Daniel Haddad. And once again on top step of the podium. Great job from Berezny trying to challenge him. Couldn't quite get it done today though. Has to settle for P2. And Zella Christoph. Great performance. And he gets himself P3 there at the end. So I believe that is the first podium for him this season. And Joanna, give us the rundown of the field and tell me what you have to say about the race today.
definitely his first podium, and it was his first race. So Daniel Haddad with the P1, Dani Berejne right behind him, Zele, Christoph right behind, Istvan Boda in P4. I think no, Istvan Pukki, Zoltan Boda in P5. Sorry, Nardi Perez in P6, Manolo Villar in P7, Patrick Curti in P8, Benches Zabo P9, and Samuel Bin rounding up our top 10. Out of our top 10, Domenico Lovecchio with the penalty. Let's see if this is removable or not after race. Followed by El Hook in P12, Darn P13, Sven Zerner P14, Alessio Di Capo P15, and Alexis Morichan P16, Cordor Ningolo P17, Dario Yemolo P18, Iker Baena P19, and Napadowski in last position. These three last drivers did not finish the race.
Yeah, exactly. So just a reminder, everyone, we have a giveaway live at the moment for to win or to have a chance at winning Mobiuz EX3410R. You have to do these simple steps. Go on to Twitter, follow Mobiuz Gaming on Twitter, follow ORL, like the tweets they have posted regarding this giveaway, and that same tweet, tweet it with the hashtags that you see on your brains to have a chance at winning once again the Mobiuz EX of BenQ, and we are a little bit getting to talk some of the most impactful of this race, if I can say that. Very fun race. Juana, any
First race that Manolo finishes outside of the podium, P7 for the Spanish driver, right behind his fellow countryman Nardi Perez, which I think, yeah, it's the first time that Nardi gets some points and with a P6, so very good result for him as well. We did not get either of the AlphaTauris on the top 10, unfortunately. So what was looking up to be a good race for them, a bit went a bit down rail with the safety car, but I believe they'll still try to come back and prove themselves next time around. In the meantime, quite a good result from our Hungarian group of drivers with Dani P2, Zele P2, P3, and Istvan P4, and Zoltan P5. So all together, only Bence a bit further down in P9, but still good points for him. A good race for them.
exactly? So we've had well, oh, sorry, we our camera has killed it. We are back. Sorry about that, but we have a few drivers willing to share their perspective on. Let's start with LSD Capua. He's here already, and the race didn't quite go as planned, I would say. But still, what do you have to say about effort, LSD?
My refer,
Sorry, what?
Sorry?
my refer, you want to know?
Yeah,
Your race.
just
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah, your
yes.
race, your perspective of the race. What do you have?
Like all the race of on F1 2021. Uh, I mean, of course, bad, really bad in all the sectors. Quali pace, race pace, no, maybe race pace not, but for sure the managing of the uh, racecraft, some aspect like the bagar, like the managing of the cutting corners, and yeah. To be honest, I try every time uh, to put my best to do my best to do the 100% on the track, but I don't know. This year for me is too difficult. Manage to put together the lap, put together the all, and I have constantly to fight with my rear, and yeah. To be honest, after of all of these months of training, of practice, I don't know what I still doing wrong. Then it's like this. I try to do my best, and every time it's finished like this. I'm sorry. I for the race. I think I did a bit of fun today because I passed all the race to fight with the guys for the P7, P6 until the last laps when. Something went again wrong with the penalty, with the overheating or the tires, and at the end another bad result that I have to bring at home. Sorry for that. I all that I can say that is I will try to do my best for the next races. I try to improve and let's see what I will manage to do. A compliment of course to Dani for the victory and with three wins, he's already quite first on the championship, and I am yeah. I to be honest, I try to do all for the quali because my first target is enjoy, is have fun, and of course is improve myself, the performance, and try to do my best. That's
Of course, well, of course, but what do you think about Bahrain? Do you that you
For sure, is a track when I can enjoy, for sure, because Bahrain is a variety of strategies. Maybe someone will do soft hard, soft medium, medium soft, no? And there is a lot of difference of pace between the tires, no? The compound, and for sure it will be a fun race. Uh, but if I really I can be strong, I don't know. I think to be honest, I don't know. I arrived at the point that I don't know what to expect, and like I said before, I will try to do my best. Bahrain is a track that I like. I hope that this can bring to me a little bit of lucky, a little bit of competitivity, and well, I hope for a fun race.
Yeah, yeah. We all do. Well, thank you for your words. Thank you, well, for telling us. So, especially qualifying, don't went too badly in general. Well, but yeah, both Alpha Tauris race plan today, so hopefully a stronger outcome. Bahrain, thank you for your words and have a good.
Thank you, guys.
Now, moving on to our race winner, Daniele Haddad. And Daniele, 3 for 3, and that's probably going to start to build a bit of a gap in the championship, starting to take as well a commanding position in that regard. You are the man of the moment, I can say. So, yeah, well, how do you feel about that and about your race today?
Okay, hello everybody. I'm very happy, obviously. I drove very well today. Pace was good enough, and I think the race was going like I wanted for most of it. Then with Dario having 5 second penalty, I was actually trying to manage the gap to Danny, and the safety car obviously complicated a bit the story. At the end, I tried to drive very smooth and very clean, and I got lucky and good enough to avoid an overtake by Danny and win the third in a row. So obviously very positive.
Joanna, do you have anything to ask?
Going a bit in the line of what you asked, Alessio, how do you feel about Bahrain? And will you? Well, I'm sure you'll be trying to do 4 out of 4, but are you confident you can make it?
Yes, I mean I always go on track to win, so or at least to do my best. So obviously I'm trying to do whatever is possible. I know that all the races will not go in this way, so I try to carry the momentum as maximum as I can. But for sure, I will try to go in Bahrain and do the best I can. Then, if it's enough for win, I will be happy. If it's enough for P2, I will be a bit less happy. For P3, a bit less. If it is out of top 5, even less. And yeah, basically, I hope that will go in the right way.
So let's see how it goes then at the Desert of Bahrain. Thank you for your words, Daniela, and well,
See you next time. Congrats to Danny as well for being always with me during the race.
it did keep you honest.
Yeah, the end was quite tough.
So now let's move to our second finisher. Let's jump on Beresnai. Danny, good evening. You did get that last opportunity to pressurize Haddad, able to get it at the end. Still a good fight between both of you. But what do you have to say about the overall race for you?
Yeah, I was really happy about the race. I tried to keep this interview short because I'm doing a Hungarian live stream, but I was pretty happy with this weekend as I don't like this track. I'm not good at this track. So for me to get that P3 in the qualifying was nearly a perfect lap, and I was indeed very satisfied. Then after the pit stop, the race turned to be tricky because we had traffic, and in Zandvoort you cannot really make double overtake or I mean, two people cannot overtake in the same part of the track. So every time someone ahead overtakes someone and you are stuck behind that person for an other lap for the other main straight, then obviously you lose time. And this is how I lost the DRS compared to LSCO, sorry, compared to Ian Mulo and compared to Haddad. And they were faster than me in the qualifying and they were faster than me in the race as well. So obviously this safety car really saved for me a big opportunity. And yeah, Haddad he made an awesome performance with uh, not even letting me have an attack. DRS is very powerful, and when you are in the front and breaking the air, it's pretty difficult. And he made an absolutely perfect ending to an absolutely perfect weekend and won the race. And I think for me this P2 was the maximum result, and I'm really happy with that. I'm a bit sad with Spa because I broke my wing there, and I could break the Haddad streak because I was leading and that's my favorite track. But now neither I couldn't turn things around. So on to the next one, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly that. On to the next one. Joanna, to you.
Danny, you mentioned you were doing a Hungarian stream. Tonight you had 3 Hungarians finishing right behind you. So P2, P3, P4, and P5 from Hungary. How do you see these all these newer, comparing to you at least, drivers coming up? And what's your opinion on them?
Obviously, they are really talented. We have a mega team called Future Esports in Hungary who try to mentor and help the drivers the best they can. And this is pretty awesome to see their progress. Everyone is really talented, but sometimes when you take extra steps, it will be rewarded even further. And these extra steps, they try to do everything. They are one of the most persistent guys on the grid, and they deserve all the credit. And I'm pretty happy that I've been able to be a core part of this community as well, with doing content, doing YouTube, and trying to help myself as well. And I'm really happy for the result. And I think it's not the best yet, and we are still going upwards.
Thank you for your work. That's on the podium nonetheless. Joanna, do you have anything?
Wishing Danny the best of luck for Bahrain, and a good evening.
Thank you very much.
For words, and this is it for our our broadcast today, round number 3 of this ORL Split 1 championship. One, of course. Hope you all enjoyed it. 1 week from now, we are headed to the deserts of Bahrain for round number 5 of the championship. Hope you all enjoyed the broadcast today. Hope you all enjoyed the race today. See you all in 1 week and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.